What's up, everybody? It's Tristan. Glad to see you guys this week. Today, we have the opportunity to talk about chemical dependency. Now, I know you're hearing the word chemical dependency, and you're like, okay, either what the heck is that, or we're going to be talking about drugs. All right. And that's not necessarily everyone's favorite subject, just because I know that you guys get talked to a lot between either your parents or your school officials, your coaches, or just everyday people. You hear such negative talk about it. But I just want to remind you guys while I'm getting into this that I'm just here to inform you. Okay. At the end of the day, you guys have to make the choices, but I want to give you the most that you can have to make those choices. All right. So, chemical dependency. In a lump sum, it can really just be mashed down to being drug addicted or an alcoholic. And usually, guys, by the time that you're at this stage where you are abusing a substance or you are addicted, uh, the results of that can become physical as far as I guess negatives. It can become a physical situation. There can become negative health situations that occur, as well as just jeopardizing not just the physical but the emotional well-being of yourself and the people around you. Normally, I would ask you guys what you know about tolerance, but obviously, I'm just going to tell you guys. All right. So tolerance is needing more and more to get that equal high. So, if you started off smoking a joint and, by your third month, you're just, yeah, I guess you could say like a pro lungs, and you just, you have to smoke more to get that same high that you got originally. All right. And another way, a lot of times you hear this with people who drink alcohol. You hear lightweights versus heavyweights, people who don't really drink at all to people who drink more, or uh, sometimes people who drink a lot still are lightweights. That's just a reality of that. So withdrawal. All right, withdrawal are symptoms that people feel when they can't get the drug that they're addicted to or that they need. And as you can see, the results of withdrawals usually can look like hangovers, sweating, depression, headaches, shaking, cravings, etc. There a lot of people just experience different things because drugs don't affect everyone all the same. The experience that Joe over here might be different than the experience that Bob over here has. All right. But the variations and how fast somebody can become addicted, again, like I said, it's per individual. You don't know if you're that percentage of persons who more or less could become addicted off of just the first time or the second time. There's no specific count to it. Okay. So overall, guys, there are four stages of addiction. All right. The first one is your trial. Okay. You're just kind of experimenting. It's your first time trying a drug. And yes, alcohol is a drug as well. The second one would be recreational. Okay. Recreational is more so like you're doing it for fun. So at first, your first time, you just tried it at some random time. Now it's a little recreational. You're dabbling in a little bit more. So, on the weekends, this is when I do what I do. Or when I go to parties, this is what I do. Okay. The third stage of addiction is abuse. All right. At that point, you're doing drugs when you have a bad day, or you need an upper, or you need to relax and de-stress. And, it's becoming something more of, I guess you could say, a crutch. And then lastly, the fourth one would be pinned down. And AKA, that is pretty much being addicted. You're using drugs throughout your day, not because you want to necessarily, but because without it, your day wouldn't be the same. You couldn't function in your day and do the things that it is that you're choosing to do if you didn't have this as a part of your ceremonial day. All right. So this is my addiction monitor, as you guys can see. And, you know, again, I just want to remind you guys that it could be anyone. All right. So I have this short clip that I want to show you guys about the stages of addiction. So tune in. All right. Looking around. Oh, that looks interesting. We're entering into our stage one, which would be our trial, experimentation. And something I want you guys to keep in mind while you're watching this video is that even though you're seeing this outwardly as the outward appearance, this also will reflect how you look and feel on the inside. All right, now am I predicting everybody? No, but I can say that majority of people do fall into this. Now we're entering into our recreational stage. Looking for a little bit of fun. We're now entering into the abuse stage. It's becoming more of a necessity. And now, guys, we are in our last phase. This is pinned down. This is where we are officially addicted. We're hooked. And, you know, as you guys can see, you know, at this point, you know, when you're that far down, it's, you know, you've ever heard the term how deep or how far that rabbit hole goes. Well, we're not talking about conspiracy theories, but we are saying that that light in your life, it gets dimmer. You know, that opportunity to be hopeful, to be joyful, to, you know, have pride for life, those things get sucked out through the addiction. So, guys, you know, after watching that video, I personally, I really like that video. I think it's a really good representation of the process and how things happen. Of course, when people first start off with, trying something, do you think anyone's looking to see their life go down that way? No. But, as I'm sure you guys have learned, up into the age you are now, that life isn't all peaches and cream. Not everything works out as you expect it to, and sometimes when people get hit with those hard blows, whereas they might have just been a first time trier, or even just someone who did it to have fun, now it's becoming something that they are using to get through the problems that they have, because it was already available to them, or because they had already opened that door. It just seemed like the most, or should I just say, the simple, easy access, honestly. So now we're going to move into our next part, guys. Enable. All right. So enabling is, in this case, helping someone who's prone to drug use drugs. All right. But enablement doesn't just stop at drugs alone. You can enable people in all kinds of ways. If somebody's really poor at communicating and their only way of talking to you is yelling at you, and that's your best friend, and you just, even though you don't like it, you just go along with it, and you're just like, well, that's just the way Tim is. Well, we got to let Tim know that's not okay. We have to address the situation. Otherwise, we start to enable him. So in these situations, whether it's our friends, it's our family members, even someone we don't know, with the amount of care that you have in yourself, it's important that we let people know that, what they're doing is not okay. All right. It's important that we do stand up and out and speak out. So, by not saying anything, guys, that means that you're complicit with what they're doing, or you're okaying it pretty much. And some examples of what enablement could look like from a drug standpoint would be giving someone or something the authority, or I guess you could say the means to do something. So if someone, is more likely probably up to no good and they're going to go looking for a situation, why would you fuel them or fund them, what they need to get that? Refusing to confront someone who is addicted. All right. Not saying anything. Again, that means that you're just kind of okay with it. You're going with the flow, more or less. Refusing to get outside help. And guys, I'm a prevention specialist, but I myself am not, I guess you could say, certified to help somebody get past their addiction. That's not my specialty. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel pretty certain that nobody in that room is certified to help somebody get out of the situation that they're in. Now, is that to say that you can't? No, I'm not telling you that you're not able to, but I'm saying the likelihood that you're going to be able to pull somebody out of the depths of the deep, the odds are stacked against you. So in this case, guys, we do need people who are capable of doing those things, who do know how to do that. And that's why it's important that we get outside help. I know you think that, concealing this truth for your friend or your family member is protecting them, but really the long haul of things, we're doing more damage than we are harm. We're doing more damage than we are good. All right. Refusing to even acknowledge that somebody has a problem. Okay. So, it could be your mom. That your mom is, she's an alcoholic, and you're refusing to accept that is the situation, or that is where your mom's at. And, not wanting to, I guess you could say, to help her, in the sense of not enabling her. All right. And then helping someone to avoid dealing with the consequences of their choices. Your friend got caught with cigarettes, and instead of letting your friend take the blow for bringing cigarettes to school or having cigarettes at their house, you're like, oh yeah, it was me. That was my bad. I shouldn't have had that with me. You go ahead and cushion the blow for him, but again, all in all, you're helping worsen the situation than you are helping the situation. All right. Now, I have an activity for everyone to do. So at this point, you guys will need at least a pencil, pen, paper, something to write on, obviously. And I want you guys to ask yourself these questions and answer them honestly. I'm not asking you to share them with anybody. If you want to, that's your choice. But I just want you guys to think about these things, all right? So, our first question: do you know someone who is currently using any substance or any drug, for other words? What's an example of how you enable that person? Did you know the person before they started using? And if you did, how are they different from before? So from the point they started using to, or they weren't using to the point they are using, how are they different? And then, do you know anybody who is in the process of recovering from drug usage? And what's life like for that person now that they're no longer a part of that world? How does it affect their family? How does it affect their friends? And if that's, if that's your family or that's your friends, then, obviously speak from, a personal point. And stop. All right, guys. So I hope that this lesson, or not just lesson, but this activity wasn't, I guess, making you in your feels or anything like that. I hope it didn't strike too much of a nerve, but it's something that we have to think about, guys. Because I know, and the world that you guys are growing up in, and I've had the opportunity to be kind of a foot in, foot out. Um, it's different for you guys, and the things that you're experiencing on the levels that you guys are going through things in life. It's a lot different. So, um, a lot of times I find that people don't stop to ask themselves questions, and if you don't ask yourself questions, and sometimes you miss the answer that's been sitting in front of you all along. So following up with these questions, guys, and I hope that you didn't, feel too pressured or it didn't make you uncomfortable. But these are just things that I want you guys, to be aware of in your surroundings, and also for a future that you might want to choose. Uh, we need to know these things. And the one thing that I actually wanted to ask you guys, is what do you think? What do you think about people who never think of the future or the consequences of their actions until they've already suffered? Or let me reword that, guys. What's your opinion on people who don't pretty much think before they act? You know, in my opinion, guys, when it comes to drug usage and people not thinking that they're going to succumb to those influences, of course, no one ever thinks that. And it was like I was saying earlier about that rabbit hole and going down the hole and being swallowed in by that darkness, guys. Like, no one ever sets out and thinks that that's how their life is going to play out, or the people around them. There are a lot of people who have friends who fall victims to these things. But I don't want you guys to underestimate the influence of any type of illicit drug. All right. So this is, I'll just call it not so much a parting gift, but something I want you guys to part with. As you go out throughout the rest of your day, this is something I just want you to take into, mental, but a mini goal, guys. Just something simple, not anything big, something simple. All right. So before I tell you what it is, I just want to state that the best way to, I guess you could say, change a poor habit or a bad habit is to replace it with something of equal, but I guess you could say of a healthy or positive value. All right. So the thing I want to send you guys off with is, want you to write down one thing that you enable. All right. Doesn't have to be specifically drugs, guys. It could be, I don't know, like your little sister likes to eat two cheeseburgers when she gets home every day from school. So instead of letting her eat that many cheeseburgers, you give her a celery stick and some peanut butter and send her outside, and or go play with her outside. Just where there is, I guess you could say, a situation that you could be helping. Let's create that solution. Let's stop fueling, whatever the situation is that's not helping either yourself or someone else, and let's swap it out for something that supports you or this other person. All right, guys. Well, again, I appreciate you guys having me. Look forward to talking to you guys next week. So I'll see you guys later.